Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to part 2 of today's iteration of Making the Sausage. Before I even begin, I need to make a confession. I have never in my life played Street Fighter in any version whatsoever. The only time I've ever played Street Fighter was at an arcade in front of a bus stop in 1999 or 98. I put one coin in, I picked a character, it flew me somewhere, got my ass kicked twice, and I got on the bus. That's all I remember from Street Fighter. It was Street Fighter 2, regular edition. But it's definitely something that, I've been very keen to give a try this year coming up. I hail from the lands of Tekken since I was a wee child, but this year I do want to make a sort of a commitment to experience and kind of educate myself around other fighting games, because the only one I've ever played my whole life was Tekken, starting at Tekken 3. So what I just did before this stream was that I announced that I've been working on a 4-month project developing data collection and chart creation, data analysis, here's the title: Personal Match Data Project 2019. And I did it for Tekken 7. But I dropped everyone the big announcement that, hey, you know what? Let me drop some data for the Street Fighter 5 boys, because they need some love too. They've been having it rough, and a bit of a rough patch as far as I heard. Some people are sad, some people are happy. But we can know that we're all happy the fact that Street Fighter people can have their own documents. So let me explain what this is. It's super simple. That's the first thing you need to know. So what you do need, the ads, there are no, that's why you subscribed, there's no ads. Okay, so we're just whatever I told the Tekken guys, I'm gonna tell you guys. It's gonna be pretty straightforward, super easy system to work. I'm gonna read through my manual and I'll just hold your hand, right? Hey, there's a Street Fighter 2 copy right there, I just noticed, my bad. Okay, so let's get into the introduction. So, I'm just gonna read the opening statement, just to say hi and let you guys know what you're up for. So thank you for checking out the Personal Match Data Manual for Street Fighter 5, which will be available digitally for you to read later. This is my first time creating an FGC related match data encounter analysis sheet. So there has been a lot of trial and error involved in the creation of these files. Also, with the feedback of the community, I hope to optimize and improve those documents for future years and fighting games to come. Before we begin, I want to give a couple of primers as to what these documents are for and what you will need in order to use them. Fighting games can be extremely deep and difficult to navigate through. When it comes to training optimally and measuring improvement over time, for the beginner, it's a matter of where do I begin, and for the advanced, for the expert, it's a matter of where do I refine. We need not only to know where our strengths and weaknesses lay, but to also know in what situations they manifest. Time in the lab is limited, so having an additional guide to support your future decisions is paramount, extremely important. So you don't have forever to lab. So if you want to lab, if you've got 1 moment to lab, this can help you find out what you need to lab. So it's good to have that. Raw data alone will not make you better. It's how you interpret and implement it to your training and fighting strategy, which will elevate your game. All the top athletes and teams have their analysts fine-tuning and their training based upon past data, optimizing their downtime. So for the FGC to step up its game to new heights, I wanted to start introducing these kinds of tools to the consciousness of the player base. So this is something I want to spread across the FGC as a whole. I want you guys to know, I want the Tekken guys to know it. I want everyone to up their game and be really serious, legitimize the way that they perceive from the outside. You're not just playing a game, dude. It's like you crunching down, you're figuring out, you're trying to find a 1% edge against your opponent. All right, so this is important. These docs are not the solution to all your problems, but only a tool for a certain aspect of the game. It won't teach you frame data, it won't teach you neutral game, combos, movement, poking, punishment, matchup knowledge, or the meta game. It will though help clarify and visualize which of those things above you will need to spend more time on. It can be visually intimidating at first, but I've been deliberate in making these documents as easy to use and interpret as possible. That's my #1 goal, because it can be overwhelming if you're not ready for it. My goal is to provide high resolution data, which is 100% personalized to your own match history. It's not a general guide. It's not like these are the kind of things that you need to work on. No, what do you need to work on? It's only on you, no one else. No one can use the same data because it's only made for you. It's one-to-one. Whilst making it extremely simple to input data, automating the rest of the process. Just put one thing, everything else is made for you. You don't have to make anything. I made it for you. The greatest thing about these documents is that they become more and more accurate over time. The more information you feed it, the higher the resolution. They treat these documents like a plant. As long as you water it with data every day, it'll reward you in return with its fruits. So just keep on watering. So let's go back here. Okay, so what are these files and what do I need to use to even use these? So there's 3 main documents, each containing their own subversions to choose from. So there's the encounter charts, which has a basic, intermediate, and an advanced. There is a wins and losses chart, which has a basic and an advanced. And there is a competitive, which is basic. All you need to collect your data is a piece of paper, preferably a notebook. I use a notebook. I've been doing it on stream for many months. It's the easiest. And a pen, that's it. That's all you need, pen and paper. Also, there is only one way of note-taking, which covers the basis for all the documents. You have to write, write note, everything is taken care of. You don't have to write 3 notes for 3 documents, 1 note. So which versions of the notes you choose, mix and match, it doesn't matter. You'll get better understanding of it as I show you how they work. So as I show you along, you'll get the idea. There's gonna be a lot of repetition because it's the same thing. I'm trying to put that idea in your mind. Once you've taken your notes for the day, you'll have to input them into documents on Google Sheets. I have to really, really stress that. You make sure you make a copy of the file within Google Sheets. This will not work unless you follow this step. These were made on Google Sheets, not on Excel, not on LibreOffice, although I prefer those over Google Sheets because they're better. Google Sheets is free and available to everyone. I don't want to be limited to people who can afford to use the software or someone who uses open source software. It's just available for everyone and it's formatted so that the charts and the graphics, everything will work in accordance with that. So all you do is you take a copy and then you have your own. It's exactly the same as mine, to the T, carbon copy. So I will show you a step-by-step guide on how to have it because you have to do it correctly. Once you do it correctly, you're king. You have everything. So I'll show you that in like a few minutes, don't worry. So let's go to the next slide, the best of 5 grid. So the best of 5 grid, this is related to the way I suggest you write your notes. Whoever's watched my streams for months has known this. I'm just gonna explain to people who are watching this for the first time, which is super important. So, you'll be seeing it all over the manual later, but I just wanted to address the best of 5 grid on its own. For the purposes of these documents, I recommend it because it's a consistent way for note taking and the easiest way to read your notes later. The original idea stemmed from an anti-tilt mechanism that I made, or I was advised to use, in order to prevent myself from going to non-stop salty runbacks or going on a massive win streak, then to lose it all by not sticking to it and like losing everything afterwards. So what I did is I commit to a best of 5 grid that I adhere to no matter what. Win or lose. Win the best of 5, leave. Lose the best of 5, leave. So it just keeps me consistent. At the end of the grid, I write a W or an L depending if I won or lost, right? Super simple. So perhaps you're going through some more high pressure matches and you want to do just best of 3, you don't want to like jeopardize your rank or something like that, do that, that's fine. But you're still gonna write the best of 5 grid. Just to maintain visual consistency from the top and the bottom of the page. You just write less matches in it and then you just leave the rest empty. Don't worry, it's fine. And also, if you're doing a death match, where you can go to an endurance matchup going beyond the best of 5 situation, you still write the best of 5 grid. But what you do instead is you stack the grids underneath the names that you inputted. So you just put the name once, you put your 5 grids underneath, and you just fill them out, and that's it. It's the same, same data, same 5 grids. Is the music really loud, or is it just me? So, because this is very important, so I might drop the audio a bit. I'm not sure. Is anybody in chat sure? No. Yeah. Let me go. I'm gonna drop the volume just a bit. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. So, let's go back. So, how to create your copy. Let's go. It's okay, don't? It's all right. Okay, that's fine. So, how to create your copy. super important. So you you pick the charts. You will have the files later to go into and have a look which ones you want to use, right? So you pick the one you want. For example, this one that I picked, it's got its name on top. It says Advanced Encounters Street Fighter V MTS 2019 version 1. So all you need to know is Advanced Encounters. That's the one that you're going to find. You can't edit this one. This is my master copy. So what you do is you go to File, as it's red here. Boop, hit File. You go down to Make a Copy, not Download. Because if you download it and put it into Excel, none of the formatting will work. You'll look like shit. Things will be missing, things will be out of place. This is like perfectly gridded for everyone to use. So you hit Make a Copy, and then it will open this. It will give you the title of the document, and I will say change it to something relevant. Change it to like the character that you're maining, or your name. It's like, Steve Advanced Encounters, that's just yours. Or you can put like, Ryu, or Akuma, Kami, or whatever, who you main. Just put the name and leave the rest as is, so you can know what style of chart you have. And then you choose the folder that you want to leave it in, because this is not the folder, this is wrong. So this is the one that it was in. So you want to make your own folder. Say My Street Fighter V Docs, example, right? And here it says Kami, Advanced Encounters chart. So that's been changed. Hit OK, and then it'll flash a bit, and then it'll open a new document, and it's going to write Kami Advanced Encounters. That's your copy. You can edit it, you can do whatever you want, that's yours, you own it. So then from that point on, everything that you'll be making will be automated and calibrated for you, so it's perfect. So just do that and you'll have no problems the whole time. So, encounter charts. This is the first chart of the bunch. So, as an encounter, okay, what do we got here? There we go. What is an encounter? An encounter is whenever you get matched with an opponent in any kind of matchmaking, online or offline, doesn't matter. So if you get matched with someone and at the end you get rematched 7 times, so you get paired up with a guy and you play a match and you just select rematch 7 times, it doesn't matter, that's one encounter. But if you leave back to the lobby, you wait for a search, you get connected again, that's another encounter, even though you might have played 3 times. So that's what it counts, how many times you've been matched with them, not how many matches you've made. So, what do we got here? So, what is the goal of this chart? Cool. So, the main purpose of these charts is to find out exactly what characters populate your area. Globally, there's an understanding of which characters are most popular and unpopular. We all know who's broken, who isn't. But depending on which region you live, those figures deviate a bit. Maybe one guy's more popular in your area and some guy that is considered super popular, just no one plays him where you live. Once you get even closer to your state or city, global trends become a bit unreliable. So by knowing which characters you have versed the most or least, gives you an idea as to which characters you may need to lab against, because they're an extremely likely opponent you'll face. It's going to happen, you see him all the time, might as well learn how to deal with him. Or the other way around, where your lack of experience against him, you just never see him, and then whenever you verse him, he kicks your ass because he's got no experience. So it allows you to see, maybe some guys you don't see too often are causing you trouble, and that shouldn't be the other way around. You should be having trouble with the popular guys. So people from around the world could share their matchup results and create an even more refined map of character popularity, which will be illuminating for traveling competitors. Because if they go from place to place, they'll start seeing trends as they move around. So let's move on to the next bit. 3-version summary. So we've got basic. There's a basic version. It only keeps tracks of encounters across characters, not rank. Just how many Abigails, how many G's, how many Sagats, how many of those have you fought in total, across any ranks, any matchups, everything. Super simple, but doesn't give you enough information. It's just a basic overlook. Intermediate is a little bit more refined, which is, it doesn't just do the characters, but it does it upon rank color. For example, like if you have the silver, so silver, super silver, ultra silver, it will keep those into one category. So it will say, how many silver, Kages are you seeing, just to see throughout the month. Maybe Kage exists more in the higher ranks and not that much in the lower ranks, and vice versa. You just don't know what's popular and what isn't. It gives you a bit more fidelity. I like that chart. So, and of course the advanced. This is the best one. So this one is basically across characters and exact rank. You want to see how many ultra diamonds, how many Kami ultra diamonds exist. You want to see those exact figures. That's where you're going to find out who's the most popular. You'll see in certain ranks, like some characters are all over the place, and then you go to another rank and just don't exist. So you want to have a realistic expectation of who you're expecting to see depending on your true skill level, so where you hang around. But yeah, that's that. It's pretty simple. Let's see. Okay, basic charts. Keeping it simple, keeping it basic. This is what if you're note taking, that's what it looks for. That's what you're just writing down. So it's a grid of 5, as I said, the best of 5 grid. And for example, you got Falk, you got Sagat, you got Ibuki, and that's it. So you just say, okay, win, loss, win, loss, win. 3-2, you won the best of 5. Great. This one, 3-1, you win. Okay, so they did 2-3, you lost, but you kept playing. So you didn't rewrite the name, you just added another grid of 5, and then you lost 3 times and you just left. And that's fine. So it's a loss again. So that's basic. So, okay, so this is how you input the information. This is what you're going to see in the beginning. So Street Fighter 5, the game, right? So the whole roster is in alphabetical order. I did add Kage in the examples, he's not there, but when they announced him, I just retroactively changed everything and injected him in, and he's fine. It's up to date. If there's any updates on new characters, I will change that, and you'll see a change in the version name of the files. And you'll see there's an annual total of how many times you saw him this year, every quarter Q1, 2, 3, 4. And beyond this line, you can scroll sideways to every day of the year, and it will give you a monthly totals in gold. So for example, on the 2nd of January, I found 5 Akuma. That's it. You just write 5 and you're done for the day. Super straightforward. You don't have to like bog yourself down over this. This is all automated. You don't have to add everything together. You just put 5, 2, 4, 2, 3, and then it gives you these numbers automatically. It doesn't matter. So it's super simple to input. You don't have to think a lot. Yeah, so, and this is what you will get for every month. There's an annual version, quarterlies, and 12 monthlies, right? Where it shows you encounters across the whole roster. Of course, as I said, Kage is missing, but he's added now. So, so you'll see who do you see the most, who do you see the least. So you'll see, for example, number 1 is Chun-Li, then you got Akuma and Guile. That's your top 3 for the month. Then you maybe can add Sakura, and in 5th place you got Ed and Zangief. So this is made up numbers. I just put them together to see how it visually will come out. So this is not true data. You can add your own. You'll see exactly what's happening to you. So pretty straightforward. So intermediate version of the chart. As you saw, it's going to be surprisingly similar. There we go. So we got a G in gold rank, and not just gold itself, but in the gold color group. So it could be ultra gold, it could be super gold. You don't know. You just add gold because you just want the group as a whole. A gold Guile and a Ryu that's platinum. And again, the wins and losses and all that kind of stuff. And I usually sometimes write the numbers of the rounds on top, just so I can see if I won, by a big difference or by a little difference. You want to see, am I getting my ass kicked or did I almost have it? So, what's going on? So, there we go. So, bronze. Okay, this is the color ranks, right? So, rookie has his own one. Bronze, the 3 bronzes, silver, gold, masters. Masters have 2, right? Master, grandmaster, right? That's fine. Straightforward, super simple. For those who already know, not a big deal. So, this is how you input it. So it's the same thing, the roster, but every color has its own roster. So as you scroll, like if you go further down, you get the platinum. If you go further up, you'll be at the silver. And then just again, same thing. On the 4th of January, I found 7 gold Akuma. You input that, you're done for the day. So the same shit. Very simple, very simple. Intermediate, you'll get a monthly wrap-up of every character matchup. Not matchup, sorry. Yeah, every time you get encountered, sorry. So you'll see for this month, Akuma, Chun-Li, Guile, Sakura. Very similar to the previous one. So same thing. Advanced. What's so advanced? Just specific rank names. So you add Ken, Diamond, Kami, Ultra Diamond, Akuma, Master. Same, like as you can see, the notes that you take are the same. It's just up to you how much detail you want to add in the rank underneath. It's just the same name, that grid, and X's and O's. Very straightforward. So advanced. Okay, this is how you input it. So you go to every rank will have its own roster to collect from, right? So you go to Ultra Diamond. Okay, on the third, I saw 4 camis, right? 4 Ultra Diamond cami. That's all you need to put in, and that's it for the day. And you know, as you add more days as you go by, it grows and grows and grows, and then it's ready. And then you get like nice information like this, right? And you get to know who's most popular. For example, you didn't see any birdie all month, and you know, no Vega, but you saw like shit tons of Akuma, like obviously, right? But it's good to know. And sometimes the top 5s change month to month. Something happens, a patch might happen, and then it all goes upside down. So it's good to know what is trending and what is consistent. Second charts. This is the win and loss charts, straightforward. So, here we go. So, wins and losses. What is a win and a loss in this case, right? A win and a loss is a result of a match in any kind of matchmaking, online or offline, doesn't matter. If you get matched with someone and you end up rematching 7 times, as in the previous example I said, those are 7 different results. For example, 3 wins and 4 losses. We're not just counting the encounter, that doesn't matter anymore. We're just counting the wins and losses. So now where it can become advanced, this is for data freaks that love their data. I do, but you know, there's some people out there. You can actually change the way you count it. You can change it. Let's say you do, let's say you lose 2 matches. That can count as O2, right? Very obviously, that's O2. But you can change it, and you can, instead of counting the match result, you can count the rounds collected. So you can say, you know, it could have been a 2-4 in rounds. Let's say you got 1 round every match, but you lost anyway, so total it's 2-4. Or you can say it's 0-4. So, you know, instead of having just an O2 that says that you lost, it can show you if you almost won or if you just got completely stomped. It just lets you see the chasm between the skill, between the 2 guys, if it's close or really wide. That's why I had, I'll show you later, right? The best of 5 grid has the scores above, so you can count those instead of the X's and zeros. So, what is the goal of this chart? The goal of this chart is not only to keep track of your progress over time, visualizing your win rate, consistency and trajectory, but also to see your win rate against every single character matchup, not only across time, but across every rank. This way you can find out if you're truly strong or weak against a certain matchup and within which class of player you belong in. What the fuck did I just do? Okay, I turned on the PlayStation. All good, and I ejected Tekken 7. Go back in, bitch. Okay, so, here we go. So, yep. Combine this information with encounter charts to see the frequency of a matchup that affects your win rate positively or negatively. You can also see if there's a certain character that behaves like a gatekeeper between ranks. Like, there may be a guy that, like, every time you see a Sagat in like Ultra Diamond, you just can't get through him for some reason. Like, but that will help you point that out. Maybe it's a psychological thing where you feel like whenever you see him that happens, and maybe it's not. It's just that you feel like very stressed when you see him, and it feels like you've fought him 10 times, but you only fought him 3. But it left a big psychological impression in your mind. Like, I get that when I play Tekken, for example. Like, Gigas freaks me out, but he's trash. But, you know, I psychologically get affected by that. Everyone's strengths and weaknesses are unique, even amongst people who have the same mains. This document becomes your fingerprint on those strengths and weaknesses in real time. This is like your exact, you know, effect on the matches. Like, it's only for you, this one. So, there's two versions. There is a basic, which keeps track of your win rate across characters and rank color group. And also it keeps track of your daily total win rate. So how did you do the day? 50%, 40%, 30%. Keep track of your monthly and quarterly totals and win rates, of course, monthly performances. It's the most simple of the two, but you know, not as much detail. The advanced version is, that's the advanced version. It keeps track of win rate across characters and exact rank. You want to go, you know, exactly what rank you want. So it keeps track of your monthly and quarterly totals. Same, everything I mentioned before, but with a finer comb, right? You can go really deep. So let's have a look at the basic. Cool, so what that will look like if you would input that is this. It was basically the intermediate inputs, right? So you get a G, gold, gold. This is the groups, not the exact rank. It could be a gold, but it could be an ultra gold. You don't know. Or you do know, but you just chose not to write it. And a platinum Ryu, right? And then your wins and losses. And as I said, you choose how you want to count your wins and losses, either by the X's and zeros. That's how I do it. It's just more basic, but if you're super advanced and you want to like make sure you not only win, but you win well, you may want to count these. Because in this scenario, you would see like, yeah, so, oh, that's not there. Okay. Right. So you would want, yeah, for example, in this, you got 2 rounds, no rounds, 2 rounds again, 4, 6. So you got 2, 4, 6, and then your opponent's got 2, 4, 6. So it's 6, 6, even though you won 3, 2. So you can, by seeing it that way, you can really think about how did you really win? Was it like by circumstance, or did you actually win in every case? So it's up to you to how deep to take that. Let's see what we got. Cool. Okay, so let's move on to the next bit. And of course, color ranks. We all know that already. We talked about it earlier, but you know. Inputting this is straightforward, the same as before, but now you got more automation here. So here it will give you results in percentages and not in numbers. It collects the numbers, so how many times you won, how many times you lost, and total matches overall, right? And it will give you, of course, January totals and your win rates per matchup. So do you have a 60% win rate against Abigail, 57.89 against Akuma, and going on and on and on. So instead of having one row for the encounters like we did in the previous charts, we've got 2 now. One's a win column and one's a loss column. So if you go the 1st of January against Akuma, you beat him 5 times and you lost 4 against a silver Akuma group. So that's all you input and you're done for the day. Super simple. So yeah. And of course, if you go to the bottom of the roster, so you see Zeku, total, boom, you get right here. And you can see your daily win rate as a percentage for the 1st of January, 2nd of January. So you had 53% Monday, 48 the other. And of course it will give you like the monthly totals and quarterlies, annuals, all that kind of stuff, all taken care of. Okay, so this is the gold daily win rate. So every day you input data, it will give you that percentage as we saw before, that 48, 50 something. It will add it up to the bars. And it will just put a grid that lasts a whole year. If you input every day, there'll be 365 bars across the screen. So it will show you how you're doing as a percentage and also how you're trending. If you're moving up and down, like if you're projecting upwards or downwards. And if you miss a day, it's a gap, which is not a big deal, it's fine. So it gets to see how frequently you play and if it's sporadic. If maybe you have a really busy month, you kind of empty the other and you're kind of busy the other, you can get to see how frequently you played and how that reflected your play. Maybe when you're playing a lot, you're doing a bit better, and then when you're kind of spread out, you kind of drop a bit. You know, all that kind of stuff. You get to see that visually. Okay. So this is the monthly and monthly win rate and quarterly win rates. So every month you play, there will be a new chart created, a new bar, and it will give you the win rate as a total for the month, let's say against Platinum group. And of course quarterly, to see it in a more condensed fashion, so every 3 months is equals to one of these. So 3, 6, 9, 12. Easy. And okay, so apart from just your daily win rates, you can get to see your win rate against the rank itself, like every character within the rank. So silver group, let's say M Bison, 69.44%, you beat him. That's great. Falk, you get 0%. You've actually never beat her all month. But Alex has no number on it, so you actually haven't encountered Alex all month. And Zeku, 100%, so you never lost against him all month. And you get to keep track, you know, of what kind of matchups you're strong and weak against. There we go. Advanced, very nice. So the advanced one, extremely similar, to be honest. So instead of just writing the group they're in, exact rank, Ultra Diamond, Master, Diamond, and just put your matches, straightforward, same notes. Inputs, exactly the same as the previous one, but this one is specific rank. So Super Diamond, your character, okay, it's the 1st of January. What is it? I think it is birdies or something, right? So 5 times you won, 3 times you lost, and you just input it for the day, and that's it, you're done. And it just automates everything else. Same thing. Yep, and on the bottom, just like the basic one, you'll get your daily percentage rate against every rank individually. What have we got here? And yeah, your daily win rate against the exact rank. Diamond rank, your daily progression against that rank. But yeah, there you go. So you can see your ups and downs. If you're doing a bad week, a good week, it doesn't really affect the trend. It's very hard to move the trend line. As long as you're playing well overall, it will keep climbing up. So even if you have a really bad week or a bad day, it shouldn't really discourage you once you see that the trend is going that way. It's not like it's an aberration. It's not a reflection of your true performance. So that's super important. So we go advanced. Yep, this is the monthlies and quarterlies. Same thing. This is the color of the rank, master, and bit by bit every month. You said in the beginning of the year you're doing 44% win rate, and at the end you're at 62. So now you're above 50%. You're actually competent in that rank now. It took you a year, but now you're solid, if that makes sense. You can get to see that. And you can see that the biggest jump was between the first and second quarter. And then you kind of have to stabilize a bit. You dropped overall, but you stabilized at a higher number. So it's good to know that. So, advanced grandmaster. So, yep, that's the same thing. Per character matchups. So in some cases you will never have an interaction. Sometimes you have a 0% win rate. Sometimes you have a 100% win rate. So that keeps track of all that. Competitive chart. So, this is the third chart that you need. This is for competitive play, as it's noted. Let me just go and find the pages. There we go. So, what is the demon chart? That's another name for it. So in the FGC, basically it's a win and loss chart for the competitive player in mind. A demon in the FGC is a person who you have never managed to beat, blocking you from achieving your goal. This chart allows you to write their name of the characters they use and keep track of your progress against them for the whole year. Be it at annual events, monthlies, weeklies, or even friendlies. It doesn't matter. You can keep track of it all. It's fine. In essence, it's a simplified win and loss basic chart. Instead of ranks, it's 10 demons, and each time you get a name, and each one you get a name. So it'll say first demon, second demon, third demon. Just change the name of the person, like Bob, Steve, and your uncle. So it's pretty straightforward. And then each one will give you, instead of the whole roster for every person, that's just overbearing. It only gives you 5 slots. So you write their main, the secondary, and if they got any others, you add them up, and if not, you just leave it. It's fine. If you verse someone who does heaps of characters, you can just skip the second demon slot and just keep adding more characters underneath it. So it becomes 10 instead of 5. But that's super rare. It's don't even worry about it. Yeah. Version summary, there's only one. What's the goal of this chart? As a competitor, you always want to know how you measure up against the best. You're not the only one that wants to become the best, so keeping tabs on your competition, you get to see if you're catching up or being caught upon. You just want to know what's going on. The experience and gameplay of fighting games offline and online can be drastic. So by also having competitive data, you can see how your skills are being reflected in both fields, letting you know if they are substantial enough, worth finding approaches to close the gap. So for example, you might be a online warrior, but you play at a local and you're just an O2er. Or you might play offline very well because that's how you like to train, and then you go online and just get cheesed to death and you just can't beat anyone. You want to see if that's the case, or maybe you're consistently equal in both cases, or you're maybe stronger or weaker on one side, and see what you want to work on. What are your goals? This will help you visualize that. So version summaries, there's basically one. So it's a basic chart. It keeps track of your win rate across 10 demons and 5 characters per demon. So it keeps track of your daily win rates and keeps track of your monthly, quarterly win rates, just like the other one. So how would that look like? So you're going to your weeklies, you're hanging out, and you're okay, I matched up with Fudo, with Mika. Good thing you beat him, 3-2. Very nice. You keep the scores on top. And then, you fight another guy, it's Gaba, with Guile. You beat him, 3-1. You're doing great. And then you go to Xiao Hai. You get screwed. Kami, you lost twice. You're gone. Eliminated. So that was basically the reset right there, and you're going home. So you get to keep track of all that. So you get to see, the person and the matchup with what character they're using. Very easy. If you've already done it once, you can do it again. So yeah. So for example, we've got Jian here, and your win rate against them across, this is a 3-month period example, right? So because this is a one-on-one matches, it's less frequent. Like you're not going to play them every day, but you can see you probably turn up for weeklies, half weeklies, weekends, all that kind of stuff. So you get to see how you deal with them over time. So, okay, so this is the monthly win rates against someone and a quarterly. This is versus Gachikun. So in the beginning of the year, you were at 44%, and towards the end, you were 68. So you're kind of like winning over him now. Now you're better than Gachikun, dude. Believe it or not, the proof is in the pudding. So, let's move here. So, the win rate per person. So if you saw earlier, if whoever had this orange color, that's the person that you're versing. So you can change, you can add the name of the demon next to it or whatnot. That's up to you. So the M Bison was at 36%, 40% was the Abigail, and 57% was their Birdie. Total 40% win rate against the person. We go data analysis. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Let's see. Data analysis. There we go. So yeah, data analysis is about the idea of what you have to work on in order to understand the data in a correct way. Like it can be so much information where you just don't know where to begin and what to look at and what's important and what's trash. So let me just go through a couple ideas to just think about so you can keep going forward without stressing too much. So the first concept is analysis paralysis. So one of the biggest pitfalls you can fall into is analysis paralysis, right? It is a very real thing and something I've had in mind whilst I was making these documents. In order to reduce the chances of that happening, I made all the documents look and feel consistent. So you're not like confused yourself, what are you looking at and when are you at? It's just all simple. There's only one note you need to write to cover all the documents. The process of entering the data is the same way across the board. And it's 1 or 2 columns of input per day. It's pretty quick. And you can get it all done in 5 minutes after you complete your session. Like usually when I stream, I finish a stream, I watch a YouTube video, and I just input my data 5-10 minutes and I'm done. So the objective is to jump in, drop data, jump out. Quick, quick, quick. That way you don't feel like you're wasting your whole day inputting and staring at charts. The documents will seem barren at first. It's just a bunch of empty nothing the whole way. But as you add time, they'll start filling in and start giving you information. And you'll be receiving it in manageable chunks, bit by bit. You're not going to get blasted with tons of information. Okay, when to review. That's the next one, right? When to review. There you go. So it's up to you when to review, right? But it's always a good rule of thumb to put time between each review session. You want enough data to collect in order to create an image that you want to extract value from. Be that a month or a week. Like don't look at it every day, it's going to drive you nuts. So looking at the same data every day rarely provides anything new. You can make you numb to new information or any connections you might have missed. Looking real close all the time makes you miss the big picture. So if you're just pixel peeping, you can't see what you're looking at, but if you pull back, it's like there's enough pixels there to create an image of what the hell's going on. So a bunch of good examples of reviews during a monthly wrap up is like things to like look for. Like okay, things to do, right? So top 5 most and least common encounters. Who are you seeing and who you're not seeing? The best and worst matchups of the month. Who are the top 5 that you beat? Who are the least 5 that you beat? Win rate progression. Are you doing better last month than you're doing this month? Or across the year, this quarter. Like, has this quarter been more fruitful than the last? And of course, comparing this month's progress to last month's progress. Are you moving forward across the board? Are you sticking anywhere? Have you become worse somewhere? All that kind of stuff. Maybe you've been slacking against a certain matchup and all of a sudden you've kind of forgotten it. And then when it came back, you get your ass kicked again. It's like, you gotta brush up. All the examples above can be done to different time frames and combinations. Be creative and experiment and see what suits your needs. Once you see what needs to be worked on during the review, you can set up your training for the new month. So that's why I like to do the review. You get to see what you need to work on and you say, okay, great. These are the top 10 things that I need to work on, and you spend the whole month working on it and you just get better next month, you know? So that's what's great about it. So, next thing. Things to look for. The same data can be interpreted differently depending on who's looking at it. This has been a problem that has been plaguing the AI and big data analysts for decades. Now it's your turn. The more time I spent writing these documents, testing and looking at the charts, new ideas and applications always came to mind. New things to look for, things that are already given data, would come up non-stop. It seemed never ending, which is good in my opinion, right? So things to like look at. So creating creative connections is what you want to do. So I'm just going to go through a couple of examples, and then you can build on top of that. It's not just like these is the things that you need to look for, but it gives you an idea. Identifying tipping points. So at what percentage rate do you maintain your position within a rank? So you're trying to you go in a rank, you get kicked out. You go in, you get kicked out. It's like, okay, what's the percentage rate in that rank that you need to just not be kicked out anymore? Like, what percentage number? So as soon as you find that's called, that keeps you there. At what percentage rate do you have the ability to move on to the next rank? So if you're in this rank and you get 60% win rate, you're more than likely going to be able to promote comfortably into the next one and stay there. So you've got to find those tipping point percentages. And at what percentage win rate do you no longer drop back down after promoting? So for example, if you're in a rank and you're at 70%, 75% win rate, whenever you get knocked into it, you can just get back out pretty quickly because you're just so confident of your abilities within that rank. So you get to find those numbers, and it's really helpful. Because once you have a grasp on these numbers, then you no longer have to be concerned about why am I not promoting. All you must do is just keep an eye on your average win rate within the rank of interest and reach the tipping point. Once you learn what that tipping point is, just chase it, just look for the tipping point and just cruise. You just got to do it. All that you need to do at that point is just work on your matches, figure out your weaknesses, train better, and the win rate will take care of itself. That's what I'm thinking about, right? So another thing to consider is in-game performance affected by external factors. So like things like stress, diet, sleep, exercise, and detect natural performance cycles. You want to see correlating data to real-life events could help identify the influence they may or may not have on your game performance, or even taking steps towards removing or modifying them. So, maybe you stopped going to the gym and you're feeling a bit slouchy, it's affecting your performance. Maybe you're exercising too much and you can't recover, and it's affecting your performance. Maybe you got like a really busy work week, or you got exams coming up, or just something that's like in the way. Maybe you just started binge eating junk food for like a month and you just feel like shit. Maybe just cut down on the bad food, and that will just keep your mind clearer. Or maybe you're having too much coffee and you need to cut down it because it's making you too wired. And that can maybe correlate to your actual data, to your performance, your consistent performance over time. So another thing to consider is changes affected by balance patches and DLCs. So tracking encounter fluctuations before and after releases. So is someone popular, no one played someone, and then all of a sudden the patch came out, boom, now he's super popular. And vice versa, someone was like, ST that's got knocked into like B. Is that affecting people's play? Do they stick to him? Do they just leave? Is the DLC character only like super cool for 2 weeks, or has he been consistently really popular for like 6 months? Stuff like that, you just keep a track of what's going on. Tracking encounters fluctuations before and after releases, seeing if there's proximal interest in the new characters. Drastic win-loss ratios after balance patches. So there are many types of events to keep an eye out for that can influence the game, right? New meta being developed, combos and cancels that were never thought of, changing the way the game is played. New tier lists made by professionals and experts influencing the character selection decisions across the world. So if some like big competitor like, so Justin Wong makes like a tier list, people are just going to go watch it, see what he thinks, and it's going to influence the game overall. You're just going to see a lot of people picking up and dropping characters based upon his expert opinion. But some other expert, let's say Problem X or something, or Takeda makes his list, and maybe it's conflicting, maybe it's agreeing, and it can like reinforce or discourage people from choosing or dropping certain characters. So this way you get to see that happen. So even competitive upsets can cause shifts in popularity and effectiveness of characters within a roster. Having a major competitive event toppled by someone unknown or not expected to reach that far, using an unorthodox main or playstyle, can psychologically affect the perception of what is possible and what are the true available options for success. Like someone's playing someone super low tier and then just wins. It's like, okay, well maybe, we don't need just top tier characters. We can change. Like I always liked this character, but because he wasn't high tier, I didn't want to try him out. And then you're going to see an influx of people trying someone different. Whenever an event like that may occur, you'll be able to detect it through your encounters and wins and losses documents. Again, these are just a few examples of what's possible. The more I write, the more ideas I get. Start tinkering around with these ideas and see what interesting information you can extract to create an edge for yourself. Like this is, you read, you figure out what you want, and you just pick something that you need out of it, right? So let's move on to the next slide. Considerations. These are considerations. What do we need to consider? Regarding which documents to start using, there's really no wrong answer. Like which ones should I pick? There's all these different ones, right? The amount of depth is up to you. Do you want to be like just in general, like an overview? Do you want to be like laser accurate? You can just choose the ones that do that, right? There's a few considerations to keep in mind. So the main thing to keep in mind is that these documents last for a whole year. So what I'm telling you is that you must predict your expectations for the whole year. Let's say you're a beginner. I'm a beginner. Like I've never played Street Fighter, for example. If I just pick the basic charts in something that in 6 months' time, when I've gained some sort of experience and understanding, that I want more accurate data, then I'll have to like rewrite things or like copy paste things over. Or I can just write the notes now, and it might not be super important for the first 6 months, but later on it'll be like, oh, really useful information. So like my expectations are, I'm expecting to be a lot better in the future. So I'll use something a little bit more advanced, like intermediate charts or advanced, and I'm future-proofing myself for a whole year's worth of playing. There might be someone who's pro and he's going to be pro at the end of the year, just like in the beginning, and he just wants the same chart. So he doesn't have to like develop expectations. They're already set high. Okay, so another consideration is that your note-taking covers every single document. So one note covers everything. So at least have one copy of each version running. So one encounter, one win and loss, one competitive. That way you get a full picture of your progress made little by little. What do we got here? Having to go back later and input it all makes life easier. Just do it once, it's easy. So the third consideration has to do with the win and loss chart specifically, just that one. I wouldn't mix the results between different characters you play. If you play like, Cammy and Jury, and you're very good, like Cammy's been your main, but you've only been playing Jury for like 2 months. If you combine those match data, it'll make you look like you whack. Like you look way worse than you are, because you're mixing very good performance with like learning performance. So I'll make a chart for Cammy and a chart for Jury, and just keep them separate and see them grow and drop individually. So maybe like when you've picked up a new character, your main starts to drop. Or you can see that the one that you're picking up takes 3 months to catch up with your main in regards to consistency across win rate. But if you're a guy that has like 5 characters and you're a counter picker, where you just see what your opponent picks and you just pick something that is good against it, and you're equally good across the board, make one chart, just put your name on it. That's only if you have true confidence that you're equally good across many characters. So yeah, that's up to you, as I said. So let's go here. So we've got the next slide, mix and match. So mix and match, I'm just going to give a couple of starter kits, right, of how to line this up. Okay, so this is okay, so one kit is the one that I started when I was developing the charts, and the other one is the one I'm going to do this year coming around. So the one I did initially was the basic starter kit, which is a intermediate encounters, so you can have the color, the rank color group. One for all matchups. Like I'm not going to be concerned about who am I encountering in quick play and who am I encountering in ranked. I just don't care. I'm not that anal about it. But there's people that can be really, really meticulous about that, which I totally respect and I might do in the future. But right now, my needs just are not, my expectations are not there this year. And also a basic wins and losses. So a copy for each character though. So if you have like, 2 characters you play, you get your Ken and your Guile, you keep them separate. It's just better that way. If you're like a Tokido and you only play Akuma, super easy, one document. Not like it's any harder with the other one. The only thing you have to do is on top of your notes is write who you're playing as, so you remember later. It's like, oh, I was playing as Ken. And then you see the matches and like, oh, okay, I played this match as Guile. And you just put it in the appropriate spots. So that's the basic one. So a basic, an intermediate encounters, a basic wins and losses, and a basic demon. That's it. There's only one version of the demon, so that's easy. Advanced kit is a, this is the one I'm going to be using. It's going to be an advanced encounters, so across all ranks. Again, for all matchups. I'm not going to like separate it. So one document for encounters. Advanced wins and losses. Again, one for each character you play, seriously. And one basic demon. That's it. Super simple. 3 charts, so 1 of each. I'm not breaking things up, apart from if you play more characters. So, personally, I already said that's the one I used. So this is something for extreme data heads. I'm telling you, regarding the encounter charts, only the encounter charts. I'd like to I just like to have 1 chart for everything. Like no matter where I'm getting lobbied up and paired up, I just put it in the same pile. But if you really want to take it to the next level, like seriously, you can split it across every platform. You can do PC charts, console charts, arcade machine charts, tournaments. You can split it everywhere and just see where every character exists for you in every context. Maybe certain characters are popular on Steam, people play on PC, and you go on the PS4 and it's just like a different people you encounter. It's just weird. Like PS4 guys have a different temperament and a different interest in characters than PC guys do. That's real stuff. So you get to notice that. If you really want to do that, I wouldn't, but one day I might. But I'd love to see the data. I would love to see the data. But yeah, it isn't for the faint of heart. But I know there's someone out there curious enough to give it a go. It would be interesting to see collaborations, collecting data, compiling them into huge maps of trends and behavior. As I said, with these charts, the possibilities are endless. So, of course, you've been given the tools and taught how to use them. Your only limitation is your own creativity. So just go out there and do it. Just go. Yeah. So, just want to do some closing words, just explain, because this is the first time I've done a Street Fighter stream, so there's probably some people that have never seen me before. I'm a Tekken guy, I'm always going to be a Tekken guy, and the series that I do is called Making the Sausage, and I just want to I have this little page that explains what that's about, what it means, and what my goals are, right? There's a little closing statement, so just for the Street Fighter people out there. So making the sausage is a reference to an old idiom, talking about the ugly and difficult process behind the things we enjoy the most, but are completely unaware of, which can also carry the potential to put us off from it once the process has been unveiled. Once we see it, it's like, I don't want to be a part of that. When it comes to excellence in any field, be it athletics, music, science, art, sport, literature, engineering, even fighting games, we always default in praising the great with words like talented, gifted, genius. Those are all great things to have, but none of them alone made anyone excellent. So the mistake we all make is when you're witnessing this excellence, it is in its current highest state. It's a final product, what you see. Meaning that we never got to see the process of that excellence being made. A combination of blood, sweat, tears, and isolation. The hours that led to years away from the public's eye in order to hone their abilities, to gain the adulation of the crowd. The result of all that work manifesting itself for only a few minutes. Like they spend years and years just in their bedrooms working on stuff, and just to go out for like 15 minutes to show it off, and people are like, oh, what a legend. Like he just picks it up and he's a god at it, and not knowing that they've been isolated, just working on this shit to just impress some people and, achieve their goals on the way, So what would happen if we pulled the veil off that process, What would the public say in response to it? You'd hear a lot of things, like, that's for sure, but like things like, oh wow, that'd be a lot of work. Or, that's if that's how it's broken down, then I might have a chance to do it, Sometimes people get encouraged when they see the process. They're like, oh, it's just that. Okay, if I just do that myself, then maybe I have a chance. Like, it kind of like boosts people's confidence. But other people are like, that looks awfully repetitive. That's a common thing. And when do they take a break? Like, then they have a social life, then they have friends, and they go out and they see things. Like, that's a very common thing with people that are very extreme about what they do. They just don't have a social life. If this is what and a very common one that I hear all the time is like, if this is what it takes to be good, then it's not worth it. But then people completely quit the idea of trying once they see the process. It's so horrifying that it's like, no, I will never want to do that. It's not an equal trade that I'm willing to make. But some people will. So people want to attach themselves to the idea of talent and genius because it absolves their mind from the true reason for success. So, by just slapping a label on someone saying, oh, he's gifted, he was born that way, I wasn't, so I can just not try at all. It's like the weight is off my shoulders because he was just born with it, and I can't compete with, birth-given, like, powers, It's like, but it absolves their mind of the true reason for success, which is hard work and commitment. Something we can all do, but choose not to. It's a choice not to do it. So talent could be seen as the vehicle you have, like, you know, a good sports car, like you're, you know, the Bugatti, you got that Bugatti body, right? But hard work is the fuel to that vehicle. So tell me again, like, how fast is your race car when it has an empty tank? So you can have a real good car, but if you've put no fuel into it, you're not going anywhere. But there's someone that, you know, has a shitty car, or not like not that great car, but is full of fuel and just keeps going. And the other guys are stuck there because he doesn't have the motivation, or he's not inspired enough, or he doesn't feel like it, and all that kind of shit. And the other guy's just trucking, he's just gone. You can't even see him, he just keeps going. So it doesn't matter really, it's great to have a good car. Imagine combining good fuel with a good car. You're gone. You're crushing competition, but there's a lot of people that, you know, it's, at the end of the day, it's all about the journey, right? Moving along from A to B, you know, you get to experience things, you get to overcome things, you get to become a better person. You know, overcoming is part of life, and, you know, by doing anything that you work on to a high level, it really, like, you will never discourage someone that you know from achieving their, like, having a goal and like telling them don't do it because you're not going to be number one. Like, only one person can be number one at a certain time, but, you know, you never know when those positions can change. And also, the people that are on the quest to that number one position, it's not about getting the title, it's about working your way towards getting it. That's more fulfilling and a richer life at the end of the day. When you look back, you want to look back at, you know, trials and tribulations and perseverance and moving forward and all that kind of stuff. You don't want to just say, oh, you know, I had potential in this, I was pretty good at this, but, you know, I didn't want to push myself any further. I was like, I was too busy, or wasn't interested. Like, it seemed like too much work. That's not what you want to look back at. It's just terrible. It's like, it's very stressful to even think about that. So yeah, that's it. So my goal here, the last line, right? My goal is to awaken people to the idea that they themselves have what it takes and can fuel themselves to greatness. Like, that's what I want. It's not about motivating people. I'm not interested in motivating people. I'm interested in people motivating themselves, like knowing that you can fuel yourself and you can move forward. That's more important, because, you know, you can only rely on yourself at the end of the day, and if you can provide fuel for yourself for free, then that's your winner, like, straight away. So that's it. That's what making the sausage is all about, man. Like, that's the idea behind it. So it's you know, it's a bit gross, it's a bit difficult, it's a bit, you know, lonely, it's a bit tough, but you grow through that. It's like you become something better out of it. Like, I spent 4 months on this shit, and now that it's all done, I'm showing it to you guys and hoping you guys download it and use it and share it and get something out of it. Like, even if one person uses it, like, I feel like I've done something, and I've actually can tell myself that I did it. I actually did make these things. So it's like, it's a big deal. So I really appreciate it for everyone watching and helping out. So, of course, okay, that's the closing statement. So.